Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings. Hi everyone, I am back again. Some of you have been saying for my second video that I posted yesterday, oh, we're so glad that you're back. I think there is a problem with YouTube notifications at the moment. Just to point out to you that this is the third video in 3 days. So if you haven't seen my other 2 videos, please check them out. Thank you everyone for all of the wonderful comments that I've had. I'm not a great receiver of compliments because I often beat myself up. You know, we're often our harshest critics, but some of you have said some lovely things about how radiant and cheerful I'm looking. Cheerful? Because I had a 2-week detox from social media. As I said, I did post a few tweets, but I just generally stayed off of it. It's a very toxic environment. I recommend it to anyone. And then I've got a tan. Everybody, well, not everybody, that's not true, because some people look amazing pale, but you know, you just generally look a little bit healthier when you've got a tan. And yeah, so I'm in a really good mood. I'm loving life. I hope this is really coming off in my videos. If you like my videos, please remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video again. Apparently, but that doesn't seem to be true. YouTube, sort it out. So what joyous news do I come back to you on day 3 of me releasing videos? Well, we've had more news stories come out about the concerns about Harry's memoirs. It seems to be rocking the boat in various areas. One being now the staff are concerned. Now, bearing in mind there is an actual independent bullying investigation going on about Meghan and Harry's treatment of staff. This is being done outside of the royal family to make sure that it is completely neutral. But rumours are going around that the staff are a little bit annoyed that they want to fight back, and you can't blame them. Because when you think about the Oprah tell-all or the Oprah interview, whatever you want to call it, the staff are the ones that got criticised the most. Yes, they did do attacks on the Queen, they did attacks on Charles, William, poor old Catherine got dragged into it. Catherine doesn't put a foot wrong, yet she got dragged into it as well. Then I'm sure Princess Beatrice and Eugenie got swiped due to all of the kerfuffle over security being cut off. There is no one that they didn't think about dragging down, to be fair, in that family, apart from Princess Anne. But even that being said, some people think that Harry's conversations, all to do with the racism allegations about a certain member of the royal family expressing concerns over how brown their babies might be, could actually have been Princess Anne. But as I've said in previous videos, the story does differ. Meghan said it was while she was pregnant people asked how brown her baby would be. Harry said actually it was conversations before they were even married, where someone was asking about, you know, will Meghan's culture fit? And I think they meant American, not the fact she's biracial. So the memoirs are supposed to be settling scores, but whilst I said they did attack members of the royal family, the various complaints that followed are all to do with staff. Meghan was given no advice about protocol. Meghan was denied help when she was suicidal. Remember, she went to the HR team, which was obviously a bit bizarre. But even if she had been turned away, you know, the fact that she's implying that they still did nothing. Yes, HR, I'm suicidal. You need to go speak to someone else. I'm very concerned that Meghan's come to me saying this. Did she come to you? You know, there would have been various conversations that would have been opened even if she did go to the HR department. Meghan stated that she wasn't allowed to leave Frogmore on several occasions. If you remember, her passport, her keys and her driver's licence were taken from her. It wouldn't have been the Queen doing that. That all comes down to members of staff. Despite the fact that Meghan managed to go to the opening of Soho House in Amsterdam, she flew out to Rome for Misha Nunu's wedding. She'd been going out to lunch. I think she had her makeup artist come over. Yes, the avocado toast man. She flew to the US Opens when Archie was a matter of weeks old despite breastfeeding and didn't take him. She must have expressed a lot of milk for that journey. They went to Ibiza for her birthday. They went to the French Riviera to visit Elton John's place. There were rumours that they even went to Lake Como to go see George and Amal. She clearly was not locked up in a broom cupboard as she liked to portray on Oprah. Various comments again on that. They were talking about the Palace Vipers were against them. Members of staff were doing public smear campaigns to, you know, basically derail Meghan escaping the palace and her truths. They were trying to muzzle her. So all of the things that they said, the majority of it does actually attack members of the staff, the households. So they are fully within their rights to fight back, and I hope that we actually see something come through with this. I mean, I don't really understand the legal technicalities of NDAs, but surely if someone has been bullied by their employer, that should be completely moot. NDAs should not cover up abuse. Other stories that have come out that William and the royal family are concerned. They're scared of what truth bombs Harry could release next. I wouldn't really be scared, would you? Because let's be honest, he wasn't exactly truthful with the last lot of truth bombs. And I really can't see how well the monarchy and William and Catherine and Charles, everyone seems to have been elevated since Megxit. Harry and Meghan's reputations are still in freefall. The problem is with Harry, because so many things that he and Meghan said on that Oprah Winfrey show have been completely debunked, as in not true. So it's the boy that cried wolf. How is he actually going to be able to do a truth, heartfelt memoirs, giving true kind of insight to his life and us to actually believe that any of it is true? I mean, just briefly going over a couple of just little things, itty bitty fibbies that they told on Oprah. He didn't actually lie, but he didn't correct Meghan when she said they got married 3 days before. Oprah looked at him and Harry looked down at the chickens. So there was no denial there at all. So that means to me that you're complacent in that big whopper of a fib. Harry would have known that Archie was not automatically going to be called a prince and Lilibet's going to become a princess because the letters patent by King George V has been there since 1917, okay? 1917, way before Harry was born. Now, I know he didn't do very great at school, and I know that he didn't exactly do a history A-level, but come on, man, this is your own family. He and Meghan both would have been told that beforehand. Harry lied about that he wanted to take Archie out. This is when he was doing his whole victim narrative on awful childhood he has. He wanted to take Archie out on the back of a bike like he was never able to as a child. Whoop! There's another one. Harry was cut off, despite Charles actually giving him millions the year that he was cut off. Yeah, I mean, he had like a payment of 2.5 million, and that was just in that short interim of that year, let alone the millions that he had stashed in the bank from the Queen Mother, from all the previous payments to Charles, from Diana. You can't make it up, can you, him trying to do this poor little pauper story. As I said in my video yesterday, again, another big fat whopper that has since been debunked is they never intended to do any sort of TV streaming services. Despite the fact that it got reported not that long ago that Meghan and Harry were in talks with a YouTube rival streaming services that's now gone under that was called Quibi back in 2019. So that would have literally been straight after the wedding. She was probably still pregnant. And then, of course, we've had the news that she's been working on this Netflix show with David Furnish to do with Pearl. The hotly anticipated, exciting children's TV programme about a young girl that travels through time and meets influential women in history. Can't wait. Got the TV set for record. Not. Remember, they were only forced to take the deals because their security was cut off just to spite them and to put them in danger, despite other working as well as non-working royals not actually having taxpayer-funded security. Princess Anne, for example, is a senior member of the royal family, and she only actually uses taxpayer-funded security when she is on official engagements. But no, Harry and Meghan wanted to move to LA and still have the UK taxpayer pay for them, despite having multi-millions of pounds and living in a 16-bathroom mansion. I don't think so. So a story has come out, Random House, the publishers that have paid Harry for this big multi-million tell-all. The first time that we will see inside the real personal struggles that Harry went through being a member of the royal family and his childhood. Try telling that to Oprah, who is reportedly also not too happy with the latest news that Random House are going to be publishing the first ever tell-all. So Oprah's apparently a little bit annoyed, but then Random House are also annoyed because they have reportedly agreed and signed this deal for Harry's memoirs when they first moved to California. One, that tells me that, you don't just suddenly get a book deal like that, so they were planning it pre-Megxit. Of course they were. And two, when they agreed to pay Harry multi-million pound deals, I don't think that he realised that he was going to be singing like a drunk canary to Oprah, to Dax Shepard, to Oprah again, to James Corden, even on a bus. He was giving away all this information. So I'm sure Random House, there's going to be someone there in publishing that might be getting a bit of a ticking off that agreed to pay him such a lump sum. So with everything that Harry has actually spilled to the world, whether it be true, whether it be fiction, whether it just be what Meghan tells him to think his childhood was, he's going to have to make up a load of stuff to actually put into a new memoir. Because Angela Levin, whose tweet that I just used, actually wrote the 2018 biography, Harry, Conversations with a Prince. Now, Angela was given direct access to Harry. She followed him on tours for a year. She was given access to go into Harry's homes, to go on engagements with him, and actually have one-to-one contact. So Angela Levin's book is actually Harry talking about his childhood in the army, various other things that have happened to him throughout his life, and that was taken one-to-one. This is not an Omid Scobie that he might have had conversations with people. This is straight from the horse's mouth. So I would love to see someone compare everything that Harry says in Angela Levin's book compared to what is going to come out in Harry's memoirs, because I've got a sneaking suspicion recollections may vary. Now, speaking of books, Omid Scobie, bless him. I don't hate Omid Scobie. I don't agree with anyone that directs hate to him. He's just doing his job. He's just, he's obviously in with Harry and Meghan, and he's doing no different to what other people that talk about Harry and Meghan doing, apart from the fact that he's buddies with them. But let's just say Omid has been caught out on a fair few lies and whoppers himself. One line about his age. But Richard Eden, who is quickly becoming one of my favourite royal reporters, if not the, he's actually very active on Twitter, and he works for the Daily Mail, and he does like podcasts, and he's actually really funny. But he is not letting up on Omid lately, and he has managed to pull out the fact that Omid might have told another lie. Omid denied the story when the Sunday Times ran that Omid was going to release a paperback with some new chapters that were going to basically open up more wounds with the royal family. Omid did a tweet basically stating that that wasn't true. They should have contacted him. Yet here we are, several months down the line. Turns out it is true. He is doing more chapters, and it is definitely going to open up rifts with the royal family. So what new content is Omid going to be giving us? 3 subjects from what I've read. Number 1, Finding Freedom 2.0 will cover the Oprah tell-all. I'd say get your vomit bucket ready, because we're going to have a different version of events, I can tell you. Be prepared to hear about how it was the greatest, most enlightening, award-winning documentary to ever hit our screens. I guarantee you there will be no mention of all the inconsistencies, mistruths, porcupines that we were told. It will be the most watched royal interview of all time that showed us the true devastating hardships the poor lovebirds had to survive and endure from the evil, nasty royal family and UK public, media and staff and friends and whoever else they can blame until their escape to freedom. Can't wait. Number 2, he will be covering the story of Meghan, how she lost their second child. I think it's a bit of a weird thing to put in a book to get people want to buy the second version of the book, because no one really wants to read about that. Plus the fact Meghan already sold her story to the New York Times. She did that just, I think it was a day before Thanksgiving, to make sure that it got maximum coverage in America. She told in great length and detail every painstaking moment from the minute she fell to the floor to wiping Harry's tear-stained knuckles. So I can't see what Omid can actually put additional out there in that book that we've not already heard about. But the chapter, and this is where the face might go, the chapter that infuriated me and has pissed a lot of people off is the fact that he's going to cover their heartbreak at Prince Philip's death. Are you having a laugh? So heartbroken that even before Philip was sick, Archie met Prince Philip once in the stage photos when Meghan and Harry demanded that they have their photographs done in Windsor Castle, and managed to just catch, by pure chance, the Queen and Philip walking down their private residences. They refused to take Archie to Balmoral because he was too young to fly, but he was fine to fly to Ibiza and France. And they also refused to spend any Christmases with the Queen and Philip. Meghan only really spent Christmas with the royal family when she was waiting to get that ring on her finger. Once that second ring got on there, she wasn't interested. She got what she wanted, didn't she? They also never visited Philip when he was sick and when he was in hospital. Yes, I know we had a worldwide pandemic, but Harry could have got on that plane. He came over actually to film, I think it was a segment for one of his patronages at the time, and people were allowed to fly in and out under extreme circumstances. A relative dying is extreme circumstances. Okay, he may not have been allowed in the hospital, but he could have been there to comfort his grandmother at the very least. Now, not only did they not visit Philip when he was sick in hospital, they actually, through friends, released that Philip and the royal family were using his health to muzzle Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah, and nothing would stop them from telling their truth. Yes, they basically said that Philip was faking dying in hospital because they wanted to silence
Meghan. Trust me, nothing can silence Meghan. We have seen that all too apparently, but that's pretty twisted, isn't it? You think egg would be on their face and not in a comical way when Philip did die, because then it showed that Philip really was sick and you got your friends to release that, or your PR to release that story. Did they apologise? Were they ashamed? No, they doubled down on it. A matter of weeks after Philip's funeral. Weeks, days. Harry goes on to Dax Shepard's podcast and then slags off the Queen and Philip's parenting. He said that his father was so damaged and Charles basically passed down this genetic pain that he also had inherited from the way that he was brought up. That is a swipe at the Queen and Prince Philip. That is a swipe at Charles, and he did this a matter of weeks. Heartbroken. And then a few weeks after that, the Me You Can't See, where he again spoke about the genetic pain. Growing up in the royal family, it was a prison, it's an institute, it suffocated him. He was trapped. This is his own grandparents, the head of the family. You slag off the institute, that institute is run by your grandmother and by part, your grandfather as well. When he attended the funeral, there were rumours going round that Harry wanted to wear his military uniform. But the same rumours were also going around that Andrew also wanted to wear his military uniform. So being the petulant second sons of both generations, they were apparently kicking off because they wanted to wear their military uniforms, and the Queen, to just stop all the drama, like she needed that whilst planning her husband's funeral, basically said that everyone was going to wear mourning suits. Peter Phillips, he also walked in between Harry and William. I don't know, was that just because they were just lining up the three eldest grandsons, because Peter Phillips is actually the Queen and Prince Philip's firstborn grandson. But it was weird that, they weren't in sort of age order or anything like that. So I think there was probably a difference that William did not want to look at Harry, especially after the Oprah interview. We know that Harry complained when he got back, basically saying that everyone ignored him and he was treated like an outcast. Oh, boo-hoo. Can't think why, Harry. No sympathy here whatsoever. What did he expect? So the Queen, potentially to pacify Harry from having another temper tantrum, and Andrew, which obviously Andrew should not be in military uniform either, stopped everyone from wearing military uniform, which was a break in normal standard royal protocol. Now, there were PR stories that came out after this. I don't know whether they're true, whether it was just trying to soften the blows, so we didn't think too badly of Harry and Andrew. Well, that ship's already sailed, to say that Prince Philip actually didn't want everyone. He put that in his kind of, his funeral plan, that he didn't want people in military uniforms because he didn't want a fuss. Not sure I believe that one. On top of this, you had the wreaths that were laid in the chapel. We only had a media release because someone put out a story, can't think who and where it came from, about which wreath actually came from Meghan. That it was a handwritten, heartfelt calligraphy note in there. What flowers were actually hand-picked and what meaning that they had. Really? No one gave a shit. It was Philip's funeral. But that in itself, who does that? Oh, by the way, did you know that wreath's actually from me? I handpicked those flowers myself. Yes. Oh, I picked that flower because it means this and da. You just don't do that. Now, the final upsetting insult. The Queen left a private note on Prince Philip's coffin and she signed it off as Lilibet. This was her personal nickname that was given to her by her family. Prince Philip was reportedly one of the last people to call her it, and the Queen had made it very, very clear that it's not something that she wished the younger generations to call her. I mean, your children aren't going to call their mother a nickname. The grandchildren and the great-grandchildren are not going to. So obviously, Lilibet was dying out with the Queen's relatives as they were passing, and then Philip was reportedly the last one to call her it. So it was a deeply, deeply personal, affectionate, private nickname. So what do? They decide to call their daughter Lilibet. And I'm sorry, the fact that they've made it clear that they only want her to be known as Lily, why didn't they call their daughter Lily? Why couldn't that have been a beautiful tribute? It would have been lovely. But no, they took Lilibet, which is not a real name. It is literally a nickname. So they have taken something so personal, and I personally think, and you can think that I'm wrong and you can say what you want, we're all entitled to our own opinions, but I think they purely did it because they could, because it was a swipe over. You don't own the word royal, but the Queen literally took that back. They weren't allowed to use Sussex Royal, and I'm sorry, I know what narcissist revenge is like, and it's the ultimate 2 fingers up kick in the face to the Queen. As I said, heartbreak, their heartbreak over Prince Philip's death. Please pull the other one. If Omid actually manages to spin a positive twist on their behaviour, all to do with leading up to Philip's death, his passing, and how they treated the family afterwards, and even with the funeral, with the wreath. If Omid literally manages to put a positive spin on how they behaved and manages to improve that story in any way, shape or form, then I say give him the Pulitzer Prize. I really do. I'll put in a vote for him myself, because I really cannot see how anyone could put a positive spin on those two. So that's it for me on this video. I will be back soon, and now you can be like, she actually might be back soon. I will be back very, very soon. Please remember, as I said, this is the third video this week. There's something going on with notifications, and please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll be back with some more info very, very soon. Take care for now, guys. Bye.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.